Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Porch. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, little AEW World's End preview later on tonight on pay-per-view. They're on HBO Max and some other outlets. Alright, last pay-per-view of the year for AEW, and we don't have a show until March, until Revolution. So we're going to go ahead and do a preview and probably do a review of this show as well. Alright, so I'm just going to run down the 11 matches that are on the card for tonight, and who I think is going to win and kind of why and stuff. So first match, we have two pre-show matches or buy-in matches. We have the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Skye Blue, taking on Hyan and Maya World. I actually think Sisters of Sin will win this. I think eventually they'll go on to win the tag titles. But I think they're kind of one of those tag teams that they're going to kind of build up a little bit and then kind of have that payoff of them winning the women's tag titles. So I got Sisters of Sin winning that. Next up, we have Eddie Kingston taking on Zack Gibson. Liverpool's number one, Zack Gibson. Now, Zack is normally a tag team guy. I would assume James Drake will be at ringside, part of the Grizzled Young Veterans. Eddie Kingston, as he came back from that broken leg, they're kind of building him up a little bit. He's had a few losses, but I think they're kind of going to build him up to either do something against the Don Callis family or something against Mox and the Death Riders. So I have Eddie Kingston winning this. The first match on the main card is the Mixed Nuts Mayhem match. Yeah, you heard me right. Mixed Nuts Mayhem match. I think this match was just a chance to get people on the card. And I kind of sometimes hate when companies do that. WWE's known for it. TNA does it. AEW does it. We just want to get some top tier talent on the pay-per-view card without giving them a story to follow or a program to do. So we had the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Gino Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, and Maria Shafir taking on Roderick Strong, Timeless Toni Storm, which she's had issues with Maria Shafir, and the Conglomeration, the AEW TNT champion Mark Briscoe and Orange Cassidy. Intergender tag team match. I actually have the team of Roderick Strong, Timeless Toni Storm, and the Conglomeration winning this. I just think you're going to want to start this pay-per-view off hot with that just crowd. Obviously the way they react to Orange Cassidy, the way they act to Mark Briscoe. They're all in the Timeless Toni Storm as well. I think you want that face team to kind of win this. Then we have, now this isn't going to be the order of the show because we have the 3 Continental Classic matches. Boom, boom, boom. So first off, we have Continental Classic semifinal. We have the current champion, Kazuchika Okada, taking on Konosuke Takeshita. If Okada loses this, he will lose both the AEW Continental Champion and the Unified Champion. Now remember that Unified Championship was only done because Okada had the 2 titles, which a little confusing to me. Obviously the International title and then the Continental Classic title, and then they combined into the Unified title. So if Okada, since he basically had to give up the Continental title because of the tournament, so if he loses this match, he still has the International title, but he loses the Continental Championship. Now, I actually think the IWGP champion Konosuke Takeshita wins this. Both of these guys will be part of Wrestle Kingdom this year. Okada's facing Tanahashi in his final match, and then Takeshita is defending that IWGP World title versus Yota Tsuji. So both these guys have high-profile matches coming up on January 4th. You're going to kind of want Okada going in there carrying that international title. I think you're going to want Takeshita going in there carrying the Continental title. I think, kind of get 2 AEW titles, just at least entrance-wise, walking into the show. I actually have Takeshita winning this. Now we know both part of the Don Callis family. We know both of these guys have been kind of like this in the Don Callis family. I think this is one of a series of matches between these 2 guys, and I think this could be match of the night. If this match is done right, these are two of the top professional wrestlers in the business right now. So, but I have Takeshita winning that. The other Continental Classic semifinal is Kyle Fletcher, another member of the Don Callis family, taking on Jon Moxley. You've noticed Moxley's had some high-profile losses lately. So I think the fact that Kyle Fletcher is kind of on his way up in the world of professional wrestling and singles, I think they end up having Fletcher beat Mox here, and then that final is going to be Takeshita versus Fletcher. I could see either one of them winning, but it also depends on Tony Khan's mind. Does he want to build up Kyle Fletcher even more, which to me this is that next step to build him up to that main event guy, or do they want to have two AEW titles on the shoulder of two different wrestlers at Wrestle Kingdom, which obviously we know New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW have a great relationship there. So it's kind of pick your poison on that, but I am going to go with Takeshita winning it all. I think having him walk into Wrestle Kingdom with the IWGP on one shoulder, the Continental title on the AEW Continental title on the other shoulder, and having those New Japan announcers talk about the AEW Continental title, and the fact that Takeshita beat Okada in the Continental Classic, Okada being one of the best tournament wrestlers ever, I think that also will kind of help build up Takeshita. I know to true wrestling fans who see his ability, you don't got to build him up. But there is a casual fan base out there that you kind of got to build him up to. So I have Konosuke Takeshita beating Okada, Fletcher beating Mox for the Continental Classic semifinals, and then Takeshita and Fletcher, and Takeshita winning it all. Next up, we have Darby Allin taking on Gabe Kidd. Much as I think a lot of Darby Allin, think he's one of my favorite crazy wrestlers, sometimes it's too much. They do too much with him and make him too kind of crazy. I know him out there having this thing back, which is kind of cool. I can see this match being one of those things where, obviously, Gabe Kidd with the Death Riders getting involved. I could see Sting making an appearance and helping Darby. I still think the Death Riders will help Gabe Kidd get the victory over Darby Allin here. I think we're at a point now with Gabe Kidd, we kind of need to build him up a little bit. I know how good he is. A lot of true wrestling fans know how good he is. But again, that average fan, who? And that's what you kind of got to play between, is that hardcore fan who, I remember Gabriel Kidd before, back in the 2010s, 2015, 2016, 17, that era, when he was in Rev Pro, before he went to the New Japan Dojo, redeveloped himself and came back as Gabe Kidd. So yeah, I know how good this guy can be. He's got it even better as time went on, so I got him winning that. The AEW tag titles on the line in Chicago Street Fight. We have FTR, Dax Harwood, Cass Wheeler, obviously Stokely there as well, taking on the Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, Ace Austin at ringside. I think the street fight, you're going to have the Ace Austin getting involved. You're going to have Stokely getting involved. You're going to have just insanity all over the place. You're going to have, my guess is, the return of the other Gunn brother. God, can't think of their names. They both have been hurt, I guess, because they haven't been on TV much. Colton. I think we see the return of Colton. And so, but I still think FTR is able to retain their titles here. Next up, we have the AEW Women's World Tag Titles on the line. I know everyone's like, there's too many championships. Yeah, it's good. I like having the women having another title. You have a Women's World title, you have the Women's Mid-Card title and TBS title, and you have a Women Tag title. Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron, and Willow Nightingale taking on Mercedes Moné, the AEW TBS champion, and then the forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion, Athena. Now, if you remember back to the tournament to crown the AEW Women's World Tag Titles, the Babes of Wrath beat Moné and Athena. Moné has lost a couple of her titles as of recent. I think you have Moné and Athena win this. I think their title run won't be long, but I think maybe Revolution you ended up having, between now and Revolution, you have them lose the tag titles. Then they'll kind of fight back and forth, and then you set up a AEW TBS champion versus Ring of Honor Forever Women's Champion title versus title. I know Athena's had this Ring of Honor Women's title for like 1,000 days or something stupid like that. Mercedes Moné isn't the one to beat her. I think if you want to transition Athena onto the AEW roster from Ring of Honor, I'm all for that. But you need someone that's going to be here for that Ring of Honor Women's title that's going to help shoot them up. And you got to find somebody that you can build up and have it somebody where maybe she's beaten them before. Maybe a Billy Starks would be a good one. Have Billy Starks turn on Athena and beat her for it. And then now I also see Billy Starks being involved out here. And I could see her kind of starting that little turn because her being jealous of Athena tagging Moné when Billy Starks, and then I can't remember the other girl's name who's been one of the minions on the Ring of Honor show. So, but I actually have Moné and Athena winning this. So, and then that gets us to our main event, the Fatal 4-Way for the AEW World Championship. Now, we knew it was going to be a triple threat. Champion Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, whose house? You know, Swerve's house. And then Hangman and Page, and then MJF cashing in his Casino Gauntlet contract to make it a Fatal 4-Way. Now, here's the thing. Will Ospreay's out hurt. Ospreay and Swerve were kind of doing some things before this happened. Going into 2026, I don't see Samoa Joe as, I think he was more of a transition champion between Mox and one of these guys. Now, if you look at the AEW World Title history, from day one, we know that Chris Jericho was the first champion, and then Mox, Kenny Omega, Hangman, Punk, Mox, Punk, both two-time champions. Mox became that three-time champion. You had a run of one-time champions, MJF, Joe, Swerve, Danielson. Mox got his fourth, and then Hangman got his second, and Joe got his second. So I think either MJF or Swerve win this. Now, Joe's had a title only 34 days. The only other time the champion held it less was when Mox won his second reign. He was the interim champion when Punk was out. He held it for 11 days. He won it from Dynamite and lost it at All In or All Out to Punk, and then Punk was stripped of the title after everything that went on there after the All Out in the post scrum. Other than that, no one has held a title less than 48 days. So I think being that, actually no, I would say Joe beat Hangman. I was thinking he beat Mox for some reason. I think this is one of those where you didn't want, maybe, I don't know. I think Joe's is more of a transition champion for some reason. Why Hangman? I don't know. Unless you put it on Swerve here, have Swerve pin Joe, and then you bring back that Page Swerve feud that we absolutely loved when, Page burnt Swerve's house down and they became mutual friends. I mean, maybe you go back to that, and then you bring Ospreay into the picture when he's healthy. I don't know for sure how the transition is going to go, but I think Swerve winning this would be the best for in the show, because if you think about it, you begin that show with the Conglomeration, Toni Storm, and Roderick Strong winning, crowd's hot. You end it with a Swerve, and everyone's like, whose house? Swerve's house. And then maybe have an Ospreay come out or Omega come out and challenge Swerve or something. Kind of send it off, because we don't have another pay-per-view until March. So you kind of want to build some type of cliffhanger there, but yet have it where the fans go, I gotta watch Wednesday to see what happens. My picks to win are Sisters of Sin, Eddie Kingston, Roddy Strong, Toni Storm, Conglomeration, which stars Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita winning the Continental Classic, Gabe Kidd, FTR retaining the tag titles, new women's tag titles in Mercedes Moné and Athena, retaining the women's title Chris Statlander, and then a new AEW World Heavyweight Champion in Swerve Strickland. And then maybe a guest appearance of Sting, possibly, and then obviously Will Ospreay return. Huge Will Ospreay fan. So yeah, kind of been missing him a lot. So, or some big kind of return. I don't think there's anybody you can bring in that, oh my God, this person's in AEW now kind of deal. But we'll see. Professional wrestling is what it is. If you are not a fan of AEW, I understand it. You don't have to be. What I don't like is the people that go online and trash AEW and then say they're not a fan of it. Well, obviously, if you're not a fan of it, why are you trashing it? You know, there's a lot of things I'm not a fan of, but I don't go online and trash it. I'm not a hockey fan, but I don't go online and trash it. I'm not a golf fan. I don't go online and trash it. I'm not a basketball fan. I don't go online and trash it. I just don't. I just let it be. There's fans that like that, great. Just like AEW. There's fans that love AEW. There's fans that don't. Great. I watch all professional wrestling. I watch about 30-some different companies. AEW, TNA, WWE. I'm able to find it in GCW. I'm able to find things in those shows I watch that's enjoyable. There's different wrestlers that are enjoyable to me. So you find your happy place. I'll find mine. Mine's watching AEW and Worlds End tonight. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports town content.